G'day everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. Well, actually kind of the scene of a crime, I suppose. That crime, part of that crime being me not filming. Because I just cracked on with some stuff yesterday and I didn't want to tempt fate. Now the principal issue that I had was the stuck bolt in the upper casing. Or the bottom end upper casing, I suppose. And it was one of the ones behind, well, let's see, it was on the smaller edge, but it was one of the bolts that held in the guide for the starter chain that is completely fucked. Have ordered one of those. That's from Fowler's. I'll go into the CMS NL. Slight palaver. I have used them before. I don't like using CMS because their contact is horrendous. You put the order in and then it just goes quiet. You don't get any, yep, it's going to take this long, etc, etc. It's just a bit of an arse ache, but I'll give you a bit of an update on that. Dramas galore getting that out. I started to drill through it. I was getting places. I thought, right, I'll go for an easy out option now. Got my little easy out kit. Bastard broke in it. I don't know why I continue to persevere with these. I think I'm just going to go with the straight helicoil option, which is ultimately what I ended up doing. Now, of course, when you got that in there, that is hard. Certainly at least as hard as the screw that you're trying to do, and everything was just burning. My drills are crap. I probably need new ones, and they were just burning the top half, but certainly not drilling in. I didn't film it because I didn't want to tempt fate when it comes to pulling screws. I seem to do better when I'm not being watched, and I'm getting slightly what do I want to say, superstitious, that's the word I was looking for, slightly superstitious about it. Now the problem with having that hard end in was that my thread, my drill was starting to wander because it wasn't getting any purchase on the surface. It's starting to wander. So my little Dremel-esque on its lead is now my favourite, and it got a lot of use yesterday. It's now never going back in its case, it's just getting hung up, and I found this was fucking brilliant and essentially just held it in place and burnt through that broken drill bit. So broken drill bits, if you've got it embedded in what you're after and your drills are just skipping across the surface, then I really use that to recenter my hole, because as I was saying, it started to wander off to the side slightly. I didn't have a lot of room in that case for it to do that. That recentered it and I drummed it through. Then helicoils, I can't remember what I got these for. Oh, it was the exhaust studs on my phaser, or exhaust stud singular. So it's essentially, it's very, very simple. Drill a hole, tap it, which is slightly longer, use the tool to screw that in, to screw one of the, get one of that, there we go. So essentially the tool, let me get you set up. Right, let me give you a very quick crap demonstration of helicoil. Now I think I know roughly what I'm doing. Now obviously got a block of wood, not a block of metal. I haven't got a spare bit of metal kicking around. So it comes with a drill bit. See, it comes with a metal drill bit, not a wood drill bit, but for the purposes of this little demo, it'll do. So drill bit out. It then comes with a tap of the correct size. Just get it at least started with hands. It doesn't come with the tap handle. This is from my tap and drill kit. Just wedge that in there. It's then, you know, cutting a rudimentary, in this case, thread in your subject, i.e. not a block of wood, but in this case it'll do for demo purposes. You can't quite see there. There you go. Put you there. Put you there instead. That fits quite nicely as a demo piece. So you thread out your, or your engine casing in my case, block of wood in this case because it's just a crap demo. Chuck that to a side. You then get two tools, or one of them and one of them. This is getting a bit knackered now, but it still works kinda. See, it's got a little V thread in it, and this is essentially a coil that's the same size as a stud, unfortunately the same size as the other one. Drop it in, find the thread that you've just made, turn it in, push it down so roughly flush. The problem with mine is it's getting quite difficult to get out now. That's getting a bit screwed on that side. So you there have a threaded hole, but you've still got the little tang. I'm not sure if you can quite, there we go, just see it in the background there. You've still got the tang. Bang that in, give it a knock. It is just anything I can point with, apart from my big fat finger. I've got the edge of a blade. You can just see a slight sort of weakness put into the metal just at the end of my blade there. Bang that through, it breaks off that tab, fish that out, and then you're done. You know, it's a very, very simple process, one that is a bacon saver. Now I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to get that out now. I've wasted one. I've got a pack of them there. I might as well do it properly. I wasn't going to. I was going to try and save it. Doesn't need much. Well, doesn't need much if your wood doesn't. If your subject doesn't move with it. That's gone anyway. There you go. And then you've got, you know, a bang-on thread there. Pretty smart. So yeah, I ended up doing that forced. But I think, frankly, rather than try and salvage a bolt like that before in aluminium, I think my standard is now going to be just to helicoil it from the off. It just means that I can make a slightly smarter job of it from the beginning. I'm going to try and keep all the kit together because when I need it, I'll need it, and I won't know where I put it. So yeah, I think I may be a convert to helicoils over trying to extract snapped studs. And certainly using that little stone burring tool is so much easier. So yeah, that's what I've done on the casing. On the actual starter itself, I was looking on Fowler's because I really only needed those two bolts. I found on eBay a complete thing for 35 quid. Why have I done that? It was going to cost me about £6 in replacement studs. It's the cog, and let me get out the existing one. Now that's the existing one there, and as I think we've established, two of those bolts were loose, would come up and have struck the inside of here. Now I can't really show it, but it feels rough. The odd flake of metal from it, but most importantly, from the idler, I mean this is the idler 2 apparently, but anyway, from the idler, the smaller cog that wasn't pushed in correctly, it's not knacked, it's not broken. But the last thing I want to do is put this engine together and find out that that has stopped me. Now new, just that cog is from Fowler's, I think 98, from various other places 110. You know, it's an investment. Well, it's an investment, yes. It's all money, isn't it? Nothing's cheap. But my point was, for the sake of that, those 2 bolts, I've gone for a replacement. Now, while I was looking through their site, I got 2 other bits as well. I got the cog, the idler cog. Mine is a bit, but at the moment I can't get that out, so it might just be the stubs. Now, I have ordered those from a CMSNL, but I've had nothing in terms of an ETA or anything else, so this is gonna be here in 3 days. I think I will just send back the CMSL ones whenever it gets here. The other bit that I got from them was the indicator relay, which I'm pretty certain is knackered on mine. It's only £8, so yeah, a little bit of expenditure on the bike on that side. What I've also decided, and in fact I'll pull you out the rack and I'll talk to you. Now, there's the final giveaway of the setup. My very old, has to be said, but still very good jet washer. And the reason that's out is because I remembered I had a different attachment for it, which I can't find. Where have I put it? There. I never use this because it's too powerful, so when I'm doing cars and bits and pieces, I use the one that I tried before that has an adapter ring that allows me to put detergent through it, more or less, and it is perfect for cars and patios and everything else. I was cleaning up the patio before a bank holiday barbecue, put this one on by mistake, put it down a line of stuff on the floor, and it's really powerful, but to the point where it's too powerful to do a patio because you just end up drawing lines and writing your name, which kids enjoy but makes a mess. I gave it a go on the housing and it took a lot more off. So what, I haven't vapor blasted it, I haven't needed to. Looking back at some of my old footage, the worst of the corrosion was on the cylinder head by a long way, and the housings and casings. It's not on the main engine. The actual paintwork, the rust isn't really there, it's just caked on shite. And actually that jet wash on Uber Power, and by Uber Power I got soaked because it was like, 3 mil out, just blasted most of it off, and it will get off the gunge from this, because if you look under the gunge, the paint is actually okay. A little bit worse on this side, but nothing that a scrubbing brush hasn't been able to sort out. And it means that I'm not getting grit and everything else in my engine. So I stripped out the other bits, as you've seen, and we'll go and check on the engine. Right, as you can see, the weather today isn't great. It's been on and off raining. It's kind of April showers. So in my little hut, and I'm more than aware. I make no bones about not having the equipment and having a setup that some people have got, but I'm more than aware that I've got a better setup, better facilities than many have, including power in my garage. But I have this little corner shack, which is where I keep my compressor, my crappy gasless welder, etc. But it does mean that I can paint on my little homemade painting dolly, which is an old push bike stand. Does mean that I can paint when the weather isn't great, but I can only paint little bits, little bits, one bit at a time, I suppose. So that's the engine on. It's had a couple of coats. The engine, I keep saying that. That's the top half of the bottom end painted. This was an epic masking job. It was basically most of yesterday evening in front of the telly, much to the wife's derision. Yeah, so masking tape wise, I'm with Matt Hudson on this. Frock tape, it's the best stuff. It is. Nothing bleeds around it, nothing goes around it. You get really good paint edge. It has like paint blocker stuff in it. You get a cleaner edge than you ever do with cheap shit. Don't use cheap shit ever. However, I've used some on the thicker stuff, because I'm going to be wrapping nice posh stuff around big bulk areas that you just don't want covered. So all the edges are done with frog tape, and when I've required like large bulky areas like the entirety of the underside. Just drag it under there so there's no open edges under there. It's all done with the Halford's Finest thick gauge stuff, but even then it's not the turbo cheap stuff that's like crinkly. Just bin it, it's just not worth the hassle. It doesn't stop anything. So yeah, we're there. I'm going to do one more coat of that. Then once it's dry, move it somewhere else, because I've had to move bits of my life out of this cupboard to make space for this, and then just leave that for the best side of the rest of the week for it to cure. Hopefully my parts will arrive within a similar time frame, and it means that I can put this end back together, put it to a side, and then make my way up to the bottom half of the bottom end, and do much the same. So the next piece will be doing much the same as I have with this, working my way through the other half. Once I've set this half back up, work my way through it and see what I find. Now the logical piece would be, or the more logical piece would be, doing both. Then I can save on postage, because anything that I need to buy I can order in one hit. I'd love to do that, but I'm not confident enough yet to completely strip an engine, have it all in front of me, and then put it all back together again. I'm trying to do it bit, salt it, put it back together, push it aside, next bit, salt it, put it back together again, push it aside, and then squeeze it all back together. That's my plan, and that's just purely and simply my lack of experience of doing this, and my lack of confidence in my own meagre abilities. I'm trying to be as systematic as possible. Yeah, lots of imaginative blocking here, including half an Easter egg with blue tack. Blue tack in one of the halves. Doesn't matter as long as you're blocking what you need to block. Those that I've left open are just straight through screw holes, or bolt holes I should say. Right, that'll do me. Bit of a weird mix midweek update. Not quite the in-depth that I have been doing of late, but I've kind of been dipping in and out over the whole Easter break. But I'm back at it tomorrow, so this is going to have to take another back seat for a little while. Cheers all, I'll catch you later on the next one. Ta-da.